All right, last game we're talking about here. I think it's the one that people really want us to talk about because it's a lot of Caleb Williams talk. Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears. The Bears, boy, you want to talk about putting belts to asses here. 38 to nothing. What a win. I mean, look, again, the results don't matter in the preseason, but 38 to nothing? That kind of matters a little bit. That matters a little bit. That's a confident football team walking in there and playing that game. So let's look at the top five graded players that we have for the Chicago Bears here in this one. Tight end Colson Loveland. Look, our cutoff here normally when we put up the top five is 10 or more snaps. Colson Loveland at 9. I don't care. I wanted to give him a shout out here because I think that the talking point of what the Bears are trying to do on offense, you needed to see Colson Loveland here. So Colson Loveland at the very top. Their rookie they drafted 10th overall, 91.5. And then right behind him is the other tight end. It's Cole Kmet with a 91.3. Caleb Williams right behind them with an 88.9 on the day. Offensive guard Ryan Bates with an 86.5. And then offensive guard Jordan McFadden with an 84.8. On Buffalo's side of things, edge rusher Michael Hoyt with a 76.1 is the highest graded player from Buffalo. Safety Wanda Owens with a 75.9. Offensive guard Mike Edwards a 74.3. Wide receiver Christian Wilkerson with a 71.6. And then cornerback Jamarcus Ingram with a 70.4. What do we talk about here, Dalton?
I mean, you already know we're talking about Caleb Williams. That's all anybody in Chicago wants to talk about, right? As good as he looked in this game. I mean, I think you just saw a guy, and I think you've seen over 2 preseason games, even though Williams only played in this one. Tyson Bagents played well. Case Keenum played well last week. Caleb Williams played extremely well last night. The influence of Ben Johnson on this offense is obvious. That's what you're looking for. You've got a brand new interior offensive line. You've got Colson Loveland, Luther Burden, DJ Moore. Cole Kmet had a really good night, obviously. If they're going to get in this 12 personnel and it's going to look that dynamic, man, oh man, we've really got something working. But the biggest thing, Caleb Williams last night, 86.6 passing grade, 6 for 10. And he looked confident, right? He would take his 3-step drops. He would take one hitch. He would throw the football. Everything was on time. And the biggest number that I had coming out of this game, 2.6 second average time to throw. Last year for the season, he was over 3 seconds. There was only one game last season where he had below a 2.6 second average time to throw. I think when you talk about the exact things that you would want to see, and I know it's the Bills' twos, and it wasn't a very good unit. The Bills' starting defense wasn't a great unit last year anyway, but Caleb Williams throwing the football accurately and on time. And even a couple of times when he was under pressure, I think about even, there was a screen off to his left that he dirted because it wasn't there. Don't force it. I'm all about it. You don't have to force things late in the play. We know you can do special things outside of the pocket, but his success in this offense is going to be determined by his ability to throw the ball on time. On night one, it was spectacular. He made every throw. I think that's really going to be the biggest thing. If we see this for more than 10 dropbacks, we have a situation in Chicago all of a sudden because Ben Johnson has completely flipped the script on this. That was the biggest thing with Caleb Williams last year. Not a whole lot of success throwing the ball on time. It just never appeared that there was a clear offensive plan. We know Ben Johnson has a plan, and Caleb Williams with his footwork, with his accuracy, with his timing looked really, really good last night.
The results don't matter, as we say, but the games do. The games absolutely do. And what mattered most from this game was how confident Caleb Williams looked in Ben Johnson's offense. And to be honest, I'm not doing this as an overreaction. I am very in on what this offense can be. And in fact, I got a little bet for you, Dalton. I placed a bet last night after I watched Caleb Williams operate. Caleb Williams to be a 4,000-yard passer.
First time ever.
It would be the first time ever for the Chicago Bears. Is plus 250 on DraftKings. I bet that last night. And the reason why isn't just because of some preseason game. It's because of a lot of factors. The first factor is Ben Johnson himself. When you look at the last 3 years that Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, now obviously it's not a one-on-one, but think about how good Ben Johnson has been as the offensive orchestrator for that team. When you look at those 3 years, all 3 seasons that he was the offensive coordinator, Jared Goff was not only a 4,000-yard passer, he was a 4,000-yard passer by a good amount, comfortably a 4,000-yard passer. In 2022 is the first year that Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator. They were 15th in passing grade as a team, 71.8. They were 4th in EPA per pass, and they were 7th in total passing yards in the NFL. The next year, his second year as offensive coordinator, 2023, they were 5th in total passing grade, 85.2. They were 6th in EPA per pass, and they were 4th in total passing yards per game. And last year, as the offense coordinator with the Lions, they were 10th in overall passing grade at an 88.8. They were second in EPA per pass, and they were second in total passing yards. All 3 years that Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, they were top 7 in the NFL in total passing yards, and they were better every single season. What also goes into this is who the Bears are facing. In 10 of their 17 games this upcoming season, they are facing offenses that finished in the top 10 last year in points per game. This team's going to have to score. I think Chicago's defense can be good. I certainly do. I don't think that they're going to be terrible. But this team is going to have to score. When you look at what they have on the ground, their rushing options, I think that they are going to want to throw the football as a means to staying ahead on the scoreboard, especially given how confident Caleb Williams looked in the time to throw category. You mentioned this. His time to throw in that game against the Buffalo Bills, 2.6. 2.6 was so much faster than what he was last year. You mentioned it was over 3. It was a 3.07. That was his average last season. During his last year when he was at USC, his junior year, it was a 3.22. And when you take that 2.6 and you look at the averages in the NFL last season, Dalton, that average would have been the 4th fastest time to throw in the NFL, with the average number among starting quarterbacks that had at least 300 dropbacks of a 2.77. All of this, historical data from Ben Johnson, how Caleb Johnson looked last night, I think it happens. I think it absolutely happens, especially to get it at a number like plus 250, plus 225, plus 250, something around there. I am all in on this. I think our data of what Ben Johnson has been as an offensive coordinator, how he has instilled confidence in quarterbacks, and the early confidence that we saw from Caleb Williams in week 2, I'm in. Bears are getting a 4,000-yard passer this year, and I bet on it last night.
I think a big thing that you said there was the drop-off that the Bears have in running backs from obviously the Lions and Montgomery and Gibbs, right? And obviously, look, they're going to try to open holes for DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson and Kyle Monangai and whoever else is back there, right? Ben Johnson's going to want to run the football, but I think this is going to be a team that passes to set up the run. One last thing, when you look at 7 dropbacks last night without play action, average time to throw 2.29. If Caleb Williams is going to make decisions that quickly with his arm talent, with these weapons, with the way Ben Johnson can set him up for success with these concepts, then yes, I think you're absolutely right. And he's going to, look, if this team's going to make the playoffs, he's got to get to 4,000 yards. He's got the talent to do it. He's got the weapons to do it. He's got the offensive line to do it. He's got the play caller to do it. All of the evidence is there. He really just needs to go out and execute. Really encouraging stuff this week. I highly doubt we're going to see him this coming week in the third week of preseason, but they have to feel really good about what they saw yesterday in Chicago.
Yeah, the lines for them to make the playoffs or like win more than 8.5 games, like those lines weren't as juicy to me as the one where what I saw last night, I am confident in the confidence that those two guys had. We've talked about, or we've seen people talk about how Caleb has struggled during training camp, right? I mean, Ben Johnson came in and said, like, hey, we want his completion percentage in training camp to be over 70%, and he's not hitting that. And you say to your show, you go, whoa, okay, like, I don't love hearing that. I mean, you're going up against your own team. What happens when you go up against real NFL teams playing their first-team starters? But the more that we have sort of heard from training camp, it is that Ben Johnson is really deploying that old strategy of, we're going to throw everything at you. We are not going to baby you. We are going to make practice so hard that when you get into the game, you feel fully confident. And last night, I loved the tight end offense that they brought to it. Dude, first play action, roll out, Colston Loveland coming behind the line of scrimmage against the grain, boom, little pass. There it is. There's the confidence. The second play, something else I loved on that second play from him, it's a single safety look pre-snap, and then right as he's snapping the ball, the Bills sort of rotate to a too-high safety shell, but one of the deep safeties is more towards the numbers, and he sees that the middle of the field is open, rips it right to Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet is going to be the intermediate and deep middle of the field tight end for them, and I think Colston Loveland is going to be the pseudo wide receiver, the ex wide receiver, the wing back sort of out of that backfield, the Y-leak player that you have sort of blocking initially, and then he's going to get off the block and he's going to become a receiver for you. They're going to use Colston Loveland as an offensive weapon, and they're going to use Cole Kmet a lot over that middle of the field. You throw in Rome Odunze, you throw in DJ Moore, And then, how Luther Burden looked last night as well, certainly into the second half of that game. I'm really bullish on the Chicago Bears, and specifically Caleb Williams' production and his output this season, given how easy I felt like Ben Johnson was making it look for him and how confident he looked as a player. We've talked a lot about the Chicago Bears. You got anything on the Buffalo Bills? I'm a little worried about the Bills defense, but again, it's a preseason. I think they'll figure things out as the season gets going. They're still going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. But anything else on maybe the Buffalo Bills side of things before we get out of here?
No, but still playing mostly twos. I mean, I think we already know we're worried about the safety.
Right.
We're worried about the safety position. I think the pass rush is probably going to look better. You look at T.J. Sanders had 3 pressures. Landon Jackson had 5 pressures. Deion Walker had 2. But I think this game for the Bills, really, you kind of toss it out the window a little bit. That's the only thing is it's safety, but I was already concerned about their safety position. So, I mean, they just didn't play really any of their starters at all in this game. So it's not like it's a game, it's 38-0. I'm not really all that concerned about the Bills, not anymore about anything that I wasn't concerned about before the game. So really not a whole lot to take away from them. I think this night was really just about Caleb Williams and that Bears offense.